Hello and welcome to Creative Full Time. My name is Allison Mullings. I am the host of this podcast, and today's guest is a multidisciplinary artist here in Toronto. She is a graduate of York University and Randolph College. She is an actor, singer, mover, director, writer, producer, and on top of all of that, co-founder of Small But Mighty Productions, which creates and produces queer feminist theater. We're going to talk about all of that, and as well as writing a web series and creating a musical coming to Toronto this November. Please welcome the multi-talented Caitlin Turner. Yay!
Hello.
Hi. Thanks for coming on my podcast today. I'm so excited to chat with you. So I like to start at when you knew you wanted to be in the arts or be an actor. What came first, acting?
Acting came first,
okay,
for sure.
Excellent.
Actually, singing came first.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the wonderful story I have to tell is that I was in grade 3 and I didn't want to go outside for recess because it was snowing. So I went to choir.
Nice.
And I loved it. And that's where it all began, was laziness and fear of the cold.
That's amazing. A true Canadian artist story. It was like, it's snowing. Guess I'm going to choir.
There's got to be something else to do that isn't sports, you know? Like, I'll find it.
Yes. That's amazing. I love that. So then you went to York. Did you go to York University for acting as well?
Yeah. So theater studies I ended up in. They do like the first year is general, and then you stream, like you audition, and I ended up in like the half academic, half acting sort of hybrid.
Oh, nice. Okay. So the audition process for that is just monologue and singing, dancing? Do you have to do all three or?
No, so it's just an acting program, straight acting. So yeah, the audition process to get in was like a monologue and just like some acting exercises, I think, and an interview. And then at the end of your first year, you'd audition for the acting conservatory or like creative ensemble, which is like their devised theater. And then you can go into production as well. Like you can go into carp or lighting design or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Wicked. So do they place you or do you choose an audition? Like if you wanted to go into the conservatory, let's say, and you audition for it and don't get it, then do you just go to the next best thing, or is that was it?
Yeah, so that's basically what happened, is that I decided by the end of my first year I wanted to go into creative ensemble, which is like the devised program, and I didn't get in. And I didn't get into the acting conservatory, and that is where everyone ends up in theater studies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, wicked. So did you enjoy your time at York University?
I did, and I think, my parents really wanted me to have an undergrad. For why, I'm not sure, because it doesn't do anything anymore. But I am kind of glad I went through that process. I met a lot of friends there. I learned how to live by myself and all of that stuff too.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
Yeah.
It is the good old post-secondary experience.
Yeah.
I love it. And so after York, you decided you wanted to go to Randolph, or were you waiting for a bit and then decided to go to Randolph? How did that happen?
Yeah, I'm listening to myself. I'm like, this is just a story of the ways I failed into where I am now. But anyway, here we are. So I was not loving theater studies. So at the end of second year, I auditioned for Sheridan.
Okay.
I didn't get it. And then I finished the program and I was like, you know what? I don't think I feel confident to just walk out of this program and walk into an acting career. I want to do more. I miss singing. I want to learn how to dance, blah, blah, blah. So then I auditioned for Randolph in my fourth year. Okay. I got accepted, and then I deferred to the winter term. Okay. Or I got accepted to the winter term, and anyway. Yeah,
you
the
got
smaller
there.
term. I got in, and then I spent 4 months working and trying to just make a bunch of money, and then went into Randolph, gave it all to them, and became poor again.
Gave it all to them.
Yeah.
Became poor again. To being in debt in the arts.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's a lifestyle.
What a great feeling. I love it so much. So if you're to do it all again, I know your parents wanted you to go to school for an undergrad and that kind of thing, but if you were to do it all again, would you go to school for acting and the arts, or would you just kind of jump into it a different way? Yeah,
good question. I think I needed the structure of school, and at Randolph, it's if you miss a dance class, you lose 2% of your grade right there. It's very intense, and go straight through the summer. And I really the academic side of my first program, I think, is how I ended up doing more of the writing, producing, directing stuff. And then the acting side, I learned all of those skills. So now I also think, as a director, I spent 2 years watching people do monologues, do scene studies, get notes, whatever. So I think I think it was worth it.
Yeah.
I think I could say that more confidently if I
wasn't in
had
debt.
paid it off. By now, it could have just, become super successful right out of school, as we all
dreamt. Yeah, exactly. I love it. So after school at Randolph, are you allowed to have an agent as well as going to Randolph, or is it just school focused?
They don't love it. It's like it's kind of like you're a cookie in the oven. You're not quite ready yet. Like when I went, this is like a million years ago, but when I was there, they didn't even recommend really posting a lot of videos of your performance. They were like, you're in a training program.
Right.
But they do start to invite agents in your last year, your fifth and sixth term. They invite agents to the shows and
nice.
Kind of stuff.
Wicked.
Yeah.
So were you able to get an agent through that, or did you get an agent later on after graduating?
No. I did not. I did not get an agent out of school. I was cast in we did like a fringe show called the Trojan Women, and I was like Trojan Woman number 5. Like, I think I had 3 lines. And then in our grad show, I played a 60-year-old Jewish man.
Naturally.
Actually, as is my typecast. And I hung my own fake body at the end of the first act. I was like stringing it up. Like, so nobody looked at that and said,
Oscar.
That's someone I need on my roster for sure. So no, I just started doing my own thing, finding my own auditions, doing indie stuff.
Wicked. Do you like the indie stuff?
I do. And I think it's fun to work on projects where it's like nobody's done this before. Like, this is a new play. So this character is like whatever you want it to be. I can't go look it up and see a million people do it.
Right.
It doesn't pay as much or at all sometimes. But I think even that, like, learning how to work with people that are just starting out is like then starting our own company.
Right.
Learned through trial and error, I guess.
Yeah. What are some things? So when did you co-found it with, shout out your co-founder?
Melly McGrath. It was her idea. So she's like one of the only people in the history of like a program like Randolph that said, I don't want to be an actor. Okay. I'm taking this program because I want to learn how to write, direct.
Oh, nice.
I want to start my own company and I want to do my own thing.
Wicked.
And I was like, cool. I don't think I'm capable of that. Love that for you. And it was like coming to the end of our time there, and we had to find monologues, and you spend 2 years looking at plays and monologues, and we were like, this is bullshit. Like, there's no interesting roles for women. At that point, I was like 24, and I was like, so I have to be a teenager. Yeah. I have to be 60. Or every character I play is going to be revolving around the male lead.
Yeah.
And like,
I love playing the girlfriend,
the funny best friend, the like young, innocent, like. So that's when the idea started to be like, let's write characters for women that are interesting.
Amazing.
So that was like the birth of the theater company.
Wicked. Yeah. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Co-founding and producing projects is a lot.
Yeah, we're still here, which I'm very happy about, because our first show was in like 2015.
Okay, nice.
We graduated December 2014, and then we did our first like little one-act play festival.
Amazing.
And just paid for it out of our pockets, had this like tiny little studio theater, had people like write short plays for us or direct them and then also act in one. It was like a very all hands on deck kind of situation. And then we just went from there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I love the all hands on deck. Like, you're showing up as this job, but you're also doing this and this, because it's just more, collaborative and like we're in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone wants this to go well.
Yeah.
No one's 100% sure what they're doing, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so much fun. So what do you do when things go wrong in those processes?
Yeah, it's I think what we've learned is just to be very clear about, like, yes, we're collaborative and we love to have everyone's input, but like, what actually is each person's role?
Yeah.
Like even with Melly and I, and we also have Quentin Naughton, who's our music director.
Okay.
When it's coming down to the wire with things, now that we're kind of in this full-fledged musical production, it's like, okay, when is it Quentin's vision to be like, okay, this is a song and this is the way I want it to go? When is it Melly's writing? When is it me directing or acting or whatever? Like, we just have to not step on each other's toes too much,
and decide like who has the final say
exactly
on the creative process.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. You guys have to be pretty pretty close and pretty cool to figure that
Yeah, we
out.
at this point on the show we're working on now,
Yeah.
I wrote some lyrics for a song, and Quentin messaged and said, like, what's the vibe? What is the vibe of this song? What am I writing?
Right.
And I was like, oh, it's kind of like Book of Mormon, sort of. And Melly was like, that's so funny, because the song I wrote, like, sort of the prequel to this song, I also said Book of Mormon vibe. So I think at this point where it's just one brain.
That's amazing.
We're all borrowing it.
Good. Yeah, they're all just tossing it around.
Yeah.
Amazing. So tell me about the play that is coming up this November at Alumnae Theater, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wicked. Tell me all about it.
So first of all, we're very excited and a little nervous about renting Alumnae. It's the biggest theater we've ever put our hands on. So
such a fun theater.
It's a great space. I assistant directed The Life there with Call It a Day Productions in 2016.
Okay.
And just the size of the stage and the lighting board. Like we've been working at Buddies for a long time, and in the cabaret space, and like I love it. But they're like, you have one light, it moves this way and this way. We have these like lights for drag queens, which we always use. There's like rainbow lights and bisexual lights and a disco ball, but like you can't really do as much with the tech availability there. They can't even house mics for actors. So there's always been sound issues. So we just said, okay, we need to step it up a little bit. We're going to take a risk.
Nice.
And hopefully have a big reward at the end.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's exciting. And this show, so we did a show called Villains in 2017, and it was a 80s cabaret with like a storyline. So pre-existing music, but with a storyline. And the concept was supervillains in like supervillain rehab, basically. Like they're all doing bad things and they have to go and they're like, take their powers away. They're not allowed to use them and they're trying to like rehabilitate them.
So fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was an interesting time. And like trying to have people pretend to have superpowers in a space with no effects. Like it was really asking a lot of the audience. So when we were coming up to this show, we just produced Love You to Death last year. And that was like our big, we're going to make this again, like sort of cabaret with a storyline into a full-fledged musical. And we ended up working on that for like 5 years because we were supposed to do it in 2020. So we were like, okay, we have a much quicker turnaround now because we want to keep this momentum of doing a show every year.
Right.
So we looked at villains and we were like, we all equally hate the villain, the concept.
Okay.
How do we produce this on a big stage with like, you know, a minimal budget and make it believable? So we were like, but we love the characters. The story's good. We reread it and we were like, what can we use from this? So that is how this new show was born. New character names, but sort of the same characters.
Okay.
Although now I think if you looked at the two beside each other, you'd be like, what is the through line? But this show, we were like, how do we use this kind of like rehab center thing without making it a bunch of teenagers? Because the other thing is, a bunch of teenagers we are not anymore. And like our friends and the, you know, the people we're going to cast are going to be at least in their 20s coming out of school. So what's a place that people would go and like try to change who they are and become better people? And that's how our show called Not a Cult was born. No spoilers, but it is a cult. That's the answer. Yeah, we're like, it's like a commune and it's like people are going there, but it's a bit strange. So yeah,
so fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what part of the process are you at for that if it's opening this November? You said you're still working on it. So where are you at? It's
a work in progress. We do have like the full story, beginning, middle, end is there.
Nice.
The brass tacks of it. It's also, we've decided because we've fallen into this niche of like sort of murder mystery, queer musical, dark comedy. So Melly, who is the main writer of the show, was like, it's a slasher. It's an 80s slasher.
Nice.
Like almost everyone. No one is safe, I'll say, for sure. And then it's like, okay, how do we have the beginning, middle, end. We have the characters. We have the story. It's now just like, we want the 80s quips and like want to add kind of references to other like horror movies and things like that from the 80s. So we're adding in the bits. The base structure of the script is there, and I think we have 4 songs, lyrics written, music in progress, and the opening is, I think, where Quentin is right now, working on music.
Amazing.
So it's coming.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's a big undertaking. That is a lot. Damn.
It's a lot. And, we find the time somehow.
Yeah.
And it's like we have a group chat, obviously, and it's just like a random message about what other people would read as nonsense. That's the process. We're like, okay, what are we doing? Where are we? We meet once every 2 weeks to talk about deadlines. And,
nice.
And we're working on right now, I was just speaking to someone about doing a logo for us so we can start advertising the show, because the whole bit is like, people love cults. It's also been a fun research process of like watching a bunch of documentaries about cults and like what happened. The show's set in 1982. So what happened before 1982 that we can talk about.
Wicked.
That might not be like, not everything at that point was common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And then also like the 80s vibe. So like watching, a lot of John Hughes movies and how do those two things come together? I don't know. We'll see.
I love.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
Do you find having a deadline is better for like the working process, or like how do you, because I know a lot of people will get together with their friends and they'll say, hey, let's do this thing. They'll be like, yeah, awesome. And then nothing will happen. So what do you think is the key to actually making it through to the finished product?
Yeah. I mean, one of the big answers is like, put money down.
Oh,
okay, we have a theater space. We have booked it. We have paid for half of this rental. The show is happening. Yeah. November 7th, I think, is the actual opening. Like, no matter what.
Wicked.
So that's a big deadline.
That's
right.
Fair.
And saying we have to follow up now.
Yeah.
And just, we all need a little bit of structure. I think we're all a bit listless. And, we have jobs, lives, our own careers, whatever the heck. So it is just about being consistent, I think, and meeting every 2 weeks, even if it's just a phone call saying, where are we at? How's this going? We give Melly notes on the script, and like Quentin talks to us about the music and all of that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wicked. That's awesome. Woo. So November 7th, everybody check it out.
Yeah.
Not a cult at Alumni Theater. That's awesome. And so you're also a writer on a web series, Straight Up?
Yes.
That's what it's called? Yes. Excellent. Tell me about Straight Up.
Yeah. So we, I think it was also 2017 where we did this show, called it Straight Up, and it was an immersive theater show.
Oh, nice.
I was working at the time at Copper's Pub, which is right beside Randolph.
Wicked.
Because that's just how life works. I also lived on that street at the time. It all makes sense. And so I was working there, and I said, what would you charge me to produce a show on the second floor? It's closed, I think, still from Sunday to Wednesday. So I'm like, if I run this show
nice.
Sunday to Wednesday, the space is already closed. I'll work it. I'll bartend for it. I'll staff it. I'll whatever.
Yeah.
And they were like $500, and I was like, sold.
Nice.
So we did that, and it was like, I was bartending for the first show, but I cast someone as a bartender that also worked.
Oh, nice.
There. And then we had like people sitting at booths and like audience, but also like then a scene would happen at a booth, and we'd like pre-place the people. So it was really fun, really successful.
Okay.
We did a follow-up the next year called On the Rocks, which was another one of the same thing. And a lot of the feedback we got was like, this should be on TV. Like, this is more way out of our like dark comedy slasher 80s cult musical theater and into like kind of more real stuff. And it's very easy to write what it's like to work in a bar if you have been doing that.
Yep.
It's
Fair.
we're really hoping that's going to be our big ticket out of the bar industry, is our show about working in a bar.
I love it.
Yeah. So my friend Carly Churchill, I cast her as me essentially in the first iteration of the show. The second time around, she wanted to help with directing and she wanted to get involved. And then when we decided we wanted to make it into a web series, she and I took the reins of writing it.
Nice.
Yeah, so we co-write it together. We have 3 little episodes up on YouTube through Nebulate Productions, who are some guys that I know that I've been acting in their YouTube show for ages, and they were like, hey, well, we want to hop on this project and we'll help you shoot it and direct it, because that's a whole can of worms. Like I would have no idea how to direct like film. So we wrote and shot the first 3 episodes at the beginning of 2020. So we've always wanted to go back to it and continue writing this, but we're like, okay, each of these episodes are about 3 minutes long.
Right.
We shot them all in one day.
Wow.
A long 14-hour day.
Damn.
That also was shot at Popper's Pub because, again, they said, you can use the space for free. It's closed. Just go for it. It provides some issues of being a live active bar where there's like a full bar running downstairs and like the fridges are always on. And the sound editing of that I know was a challenge. So yeah, over the last 4 years now, we've been working on the next piece. And of course, the project, you know, you pick it up, you put it back down because, again, COVID, everything's closed, that life. So we've just finished the season 2, we call it, but it's really like the first season with this little like teaser section out.
Okay.
We've written 7 8-minute episodes.
Nice.
That we've just sent off. What we're hoping is the final edit off to the boys, Corey and Jordan, who are directing it for us and helping us with sourcing equipment and all of that kind of stuff. So once we have the okay, we're going to shoot a little, hey, this is why you should help us fund our project.
Amazing.
Video, and then try to get that out there and raise money because it's an expensive undertaking.
Yeah,
for sure.
No kidding. Yeah. It's not for the faint of heart.
No,
sure. They're pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you looking to, when you're pitching for money, is it to like sponsors or grants, or what's your strategy for that?
Yeah. We have tried for grants, and we will continue to try. But they are hard to come by, you know, and like what sets you apart and what makes your project different, and why should the government give you money? And like, yes, we have all the answers, but they don't like them yet. So this is like, I think we're going to do sort of like an Indiegogo campaign. That's like, you know, if you donate X amount of money, you get to be in the show. Like you'll be a walk-on in like a busy pub scene or whatever, or we'll like name a drink after you, or we'll put your name on like this chalkboard that we use, like just trying to find ways to like make it worthwhile for people to donate. And it's looking like we need about $10,000. So
if you have $10,000,
anybody has an extra $10,000, let us know.
And if you have another $10,000, let me know, just for fun.
We could all use $10,000. Every person, for sure.
You get $10,000. You get $10,000. That'd be wicked. Awesome. So, what's the biggest thing that you learned through the writing process for the web series?
I think I have learned that I can write people talking all day long, but are they saying anything? You know, like I can write, especially since I'm in it as well. Like Carly and I have a very easy time writing as friends, writing to friends, sitting in a bar talking. Right. But, you know, the guys often are like, so what is happening? Like, what is the overall, like making sure we're integrating points of plot that we want to make sure we hit throughout this 7 episodes. We have to keep going back to those things. And there has to be like, you know, an arc for each character and like a full storyline. So it's interesting and not just people saying words.
People talking.
Yeah.
But that is a movie.
Yeah.
2 people talking.
Yeah, exactly.
For a very long time at a dinner.
Yeah.
But, okay. So figuring out everybody's character arc, it seems like a lot of, in my head, it's like, it's a lot of math of like figuring out how it all meshes together. Do you find it difficult writing it in such short episodes, or do you prefer the short episodes?
I would find it harder to write like 7 25-minute episodes for sure, right? There's so much more there, and it's like, how do you keep it quippy, interesting? Right. What happens it's not only what happens in the whole series, but what happens in each episode. And part of the beauty of talking about working in a bar is that anything can happen, right? Anybody can walk in, any conversation can happen in a bar, which was the original why we chose that when we originally did the immersive show, because we were like, we had people submit scenes and we were like, literally anything. That's amazing. This could be like, you know, a mother and daughter. This could be 2 people breaking up. This could be someone being drunk. This could be the people that work there. But I think trying to make every episode the same length is like, it's a good way to keep yourself in check and make sure you cover all the points. Because after, I think what we want to do is actually pitch the show to like CBC Gem, and you have to have like sort of clear, concise beginning, middle, end, everything sort of the same length. Style. So
wicked.
Yeah,
CBC Gem. Here she is.
We're ready. We're sort of ready.
They're ready.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's wicked. So when you were doing the musical stuff, what do you find is the biggest challenge with creating the musical?
So this particular one, and I guess in a way, a lot of the stuff we write is like, how do we keep this rooted in like good acting, you know, and like realistic, like believable characters that you care about and you like, but it's also a comedy. So keeping it and giving the actors something to do and something fun to play. So it is hard to, like, currently it's like, okay, this is a cult, and now we're finding the balance of like, Melly wrote something recently and I was like, that is so Saw. Like, this is like, we do not have the budget to do that. But then keep it like equal parts. This is a cult and it's really messed up. And like, we have like something to say about that, but also like, this is a comedy set in the 80s and we want it to be kind of self-aware and funny.
Right.
So it's a tough line to walk for sure.
Nice. Wicked. When you were first starting out in like the producing, do you like produce? Okay, let me ask this first of all. Out of like directing, producing, writing, do you have a favorite?
I think probably writing.
Yeah.
Probably writing. I just did like the Love You to Death that we did last year. It was my first solo directing musical gig, and I did love it, and I loved figuring out that I like kind of did know what I was doing, and I had a plan, and I knew the show well, so I understood what I was trying to do. But that's stressful in a different way. Yeah. It's like when I write a scene, at the end, it goes out to the actors and they do what they want with it, but I know what I mean. Right. Whereas when I'm directing someone, it's like, how do I get you to do what I want, or like what I'm imagining this to be without telling you what to do. Right. So it's a different challenge. And producing is just, it's rewarding and it's great. And I love what we do, but it's so stressful. Yeah. Yeah. And we're like always, we're not a big budget company, obviously. So figuring out figuring out how to do things on a budget and being, I'm the person who has the bank account, so I have to say no to everybody all the time. I don't want to do that. If you want a unicorn, I want to give you a unicorn. But like how, like, Melly, for the last show, she kept saying, well, the ending, there must be a helicopter. And I'm like, I need you to understand where we're doing this show. This is not Miss Saigon. We will not be building a theater around a helicopter. Like how?
That is amazing. Helicopter. I'm picturing helicopter and explosions. You're like,
And then we're doing, it was like a murder mystery. So she's like, and then somebody gets electrocuted. I'm like, so we can't have any water on stage. Right. We can't have anything plugged in anywhere. We can't block this fire exit. So it becomes like, it's less fun, I think, because you have to be the person who drags everybody back down to earth, That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. For now. Someday.
That's right. Till we can afford that helicopter. Exactly. The answer is no. Yeah. That's amazing. Wicked. So when you're starting out, what is the one thing that you learned about producing that surprised you?
It's honestly, this is going to sound silly, but it's like easier than you think. Okay. Like if you and a friend say, oh, we should write like a 2-hand show and we should submit it to Fringe, or we should just get a little space and do it. Things are a lot more expensive now than they were in 2015 for sure. The post-COVID world is like
ridiculous.
Like theaters are like double the price. But if you put that money down and you say you're going to do it, you can. Nice. You can look at it and be like, okay, I have a budget of $100. Well, we're going to wear our own clothes, so it's going to be set in whatever season it is right now. And it's going to be like 2024, and it's going to be about this, and off you go. Yeah. It really is about like, once you've committed to it financially, you have to follow through. That's like terrible advice, but I think
no, but it's
a big motivator.
It is. Yeah. Cause as far as like deadlines, I could set a deadline in like 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks will come and I'll be like, oh, well, I guess I missed it. Yeah. But if you have like, something you're losing, or a reward, whatever works for you. But losing money is definitely a motivator.
I mean, none of us have any, so it's a great motivator. And I also think just having a team that keeps you accountable. Like there are many times where the 2-week mark is coming up where, I'm having a meeting with Melly and Quentin, and I'm like, oh, I got to write lyrics today because I said that was my job for this meeting the next day. So it is having a clear outline of like, okay, you're going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you're going to do this, and we're all going to come and see how that went. Because if I was producing a one-woman show about me talking about myself and I said this must be done, I probably wouldn't even show up to my own show. I do need other people. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Melly did her job. Quentin did his job. Here we are.
Amazing.
I must do this.
Must do this.
Yeah.
And what are some qualities in the people in your team that you look for when looking for those people that you need to keep you accountable?
I think the big thing and the thing we've gotten really lucky with is like, I work with people that we all have like a similar thing we want to say, whether or not like, the way obviously in which we say it is different, but like we are all queer people who want to be telling queer stories. And in my mind, the last show we did was set in the 90s. This one's going to be set in the 80s. I decided in the shower today without telling anyone that our next show is going to be like an emo show about 2 lesbian vampires with like all emo punk music. So my big goal is to have this like sort of scape of like queerness through the ages and like what that meant at the time and like how people interact.
So cool. Are we thinking like 2000s emo?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, like early 2000s emo, like Twilight, but they're lesbians. And they're like on a killing spree, but they have heart and like maybe it's a bit Dexter. I don't know.
I love it. Do you get your best ideas in the shower?
Sometimes. Yeah, I think it's the only time I actually am like quiet.
I feel that's my core. That or driving sometimes.
Yes.
Just
driving is good too.
Ding.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, yes.
And it's like, I'm such a background noise person. So it's like the only time I'm not watching The Real Housewives and just so engrossed in that nonsense that I can't allow myself to think.
I love it. That's amazing. Is that your favorite guilty pleasure show?
Currently. Yeah. Yes. I've gotten big into the Bravo world lately.
Nice. That's wicked.
I like to think, like the watching Vanderpump Rules 3 times through, I'm like, this is technically research for Straight Up because they all work in a bar in the beginning.
It's fair.
It's a restaurant.
That's how I justify my watching too. I'm like, this is homework.
For sure. Movies. All the time when I watch movies, I'm like, this is actually homework.
Right? Exactly. Pass the popcorn and doing homework.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. So I know creative full-time is the goal, but what do you do as your, for lack of a better word, survival job? What pays the bills
What
for you?
pays the bills? Yeah, certainly not my endless self-tapes for commercials. I'll tell you that. I am the head bartender at the lobby bar of One Hotel, Toronto.
Wicked.
It's called Flora Lounge. It's been a journey of, speed bartending in pubs and doing all of this. This is like truly the best. If you can hack it, it's the best job for it's shift work. It's at night. You can go to all your auditions during the day. We can run a full rehearsal schedule and I'll just like be exhausted at work.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it is good. I mean, it's a luxury hotel. So it's expensive. So that's nice for tips.
Right.
And I get to help design the cocktail program. So that's a way in which I can be creative while also slinging drinks and paying rent.
Wicked. Yeah. I love it. Do you have an agent currently?
I do. Yeah. I'm with Lindsay Scrivener at the Bella Agency.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Wicked. That's awesome. And so for acting on camera, do you prefer theater or film? Or do you love both differently?
I think at this point, I'm really like outside of my own, like the theater company that I am very heavily immersed in, obviously, that I'm like running. It's mostly film stuff I'm going out for.
Nice.
I think just with, if you want to have multiple projects on the go, if I'm like, in 2024, I'm going to produce and perform in this new Canadian musical, and I'm going to shoot an entire web series.
Fair.
Taking on a 3-month contract, if anyone would give me one, would probably just screw everything up in a way.
Yeah.
So film is great because it's, it's 1 day, 2 days, 4 days.
Quick turnaround.
And if it's a good one, then you take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's 8 weeks, then you're like, this is amazing. I might pay off my OSAP before I'm 90.
I know, right? I just need one commercial. Okay, one, maybe 2.
Yeah, I'll take 1 too. Yeah, well, we both just one big boy.
One and done it.
Yeah.
One and done in it. Just to pay off our debts
Yeah.
before we're 90.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So when you're auditioning and doing self-tapes, do you still get nervous for submitting, or are you cool as a cucumber now?
You know what? If it's a commercial and it's like, you know, this person is a person with arms and legs and they live in the world and they're 20 to 97 and they are eating this barbecue sauce, like it's 3 takes max. Because I know they're going to look at me and decide whether
exactly.
Or not. There's not a lot of, it's especially.
I think it's really just to be like, do you look like your headshot? Okay. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
We'll
and you know, it's SOC. It's like I'm pretending. At a point, I had a stuffed dog and I was pretending to watch it. I don't know. It's like a PetSmart commercial or something. And I was like, this can't be that serious. Like I can't be worried about my eyebrows or my the acting genius of this.
It's like ridiculous. I have to do a full face of makeup for one of them was pretend I had Cheetos on my face and then my fingers were Cheetos and then you start like eating your hands. So I was like, I have to put on makeup for this?
Yeah. Isn't it just the worst to be a woman too? It's like you get a self-tape and it's like, okay, it's due in 48 hours. And you're like, okay, so I have to put on makeup, shoot this,
probably have to shower, let's be honest,
do my hair, and then send this off and I'll never hear anything about it again.
Yeah, never hear it. And the we were talking about earlier off camera, the female breakdowns are my absolute favorite. She's beautiful, but she doesn't know it. She's funny, but not like funnier than him.
Yeah, it is like a really humbling. Sometimes I get breakdowns that are like not that good looking, and I'm like, oh,
like the bigger friend.
And my agent looked at that and said, yeah, that's Caitlin. Not too good looking, just normal,
right? Not the girl next door. You're like, thank you so much.
Yeah, crazy. I have a friend who does voice acting. She's like a very successful voice actor, and sometimes she like posts on her Instagram story the breakdowns and like.
I love
even describing a voice, you know, like how does that? Yeah. So if it's a big one, like if it's an audition for like a great Canadian TV show or like something like that, I get nervous for sure.
Nice,
and that's when you spend hours and hours looking at the same 3 takes over and over. And it's like, you used the first one. Why did we do this?
I know. I hate the feeling of like when you nail it and then you're like, okay, just one more, like just in case, because I think I could do like this part just a little bit better. And it just,
oh my gosh. Because you forget the script instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
I was doing one last week for like, I don't know. It was like pretend you have a child and you're like advertising all the tips you learned about having a baby. And first of all, I'm like, I'm out. I don't understand this. And then it was I think it was for like Pfizer or something. So it was like kind of more medical and like, these are the things you need to know about IBDQR. And I was like, I got one take and the rest of it is like not even close to the script, Caitlin, just making stuff up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's a tight 3 takes. That's my rule.
Yeah.
And then just walk away.
How do you feel about playing mom roles? Do you have children? First of all, I should ask that. Do you have children?
Me neither. I don't have children. I don't want children. I have no interest in the process.
Fair.
The idea of giving birth is,
terrifying to me.
A borderline of fate worse than death in my mind. So I have a niece.
Yeah, same. I was like, I have a niece because I find when like I'll get roles that are like, you're a mother. And I'm like, feel like I'm not going to nail this one because it's I don't know. It's just weird to me. And I'm still like teen pregnancy. What are you talking about?
And it's like, how am I getting sent out for these things? It's like, this person clearly looks like they're still in college. And then suddenly it's like, you have a 17-year-old child.
Like, so was I 13 when I had this job?
Like I shot an episode of a Canadian TV show called Fear Thy Neighbor in October, which I think me being cast in that it canceled the show because it's not aired. Anyway, don't cast me. You'll never get back on TV.
Your show is now canceled.
Yeah, and it was like a 30-year-old mother of 4 that I was playing. And I was like, and one of my kids was like, you know, I was like,
that's nuts.
This is crazy. This woman has had a horrible life.
I know. I find that too. Like when I get auditions it'll be like, I'm 30, but I look older. So, but it'll be like, we're casting 40-year-old women. And I was like, oh no, not me. I couldn't possibly. And then I look at who they cast and I'm like, she's looking fantastic for 40. What are you talking about? I'm like, that's ridiculous. She's 29 at best.
Yeah. Well, and I think at a certain point they just go, I was talking to a friend of mine who directed a couple episodes of that same show this year. And he was like, you know, when it comes to these, they do want you to look like the person, because it's real life, true crime.
Right.
They want you to look like the person, but at the end of the day, they want you to do a good job. Like,
yeah.
I let me tell you, it was a humbling moment when I saw the real life person that I was playing.
I had that too. I was like, you think I look like this bitch?
Oh my God. I looked at the makeup artist and I was like, hey, so I hear you have photos of all the people that were playing. And she was like, I don't want to show you. I was like, you got to show me. You showed everybody else. And she was like, please understand that you are blonde and you have glasses. And
it's just
the resemblance ends there. And I'm like,
yeah, it was just the like reddish hair, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Pale.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hope that's it. Because yeah, it was like, I was like, oh shit. Yeah, very humbling.
Yeah.
Very.
It is important, you know, to stay humble. That's how people develop good personalities, by the way, is being constantly told you're not that good looking. Yeah. And this is what we think you look like.
Exactly. The not good looking type.
Yeah.
I like, oh, that's another breakdown one. Not model type. Like, just say what you mean.
Yeah.
Just say what you mean.
Yeah. Not thin.
Not the model type. Not like beautiful and thin, but like kind of fat and ugly.
In the 90s, you wouldn't have been on television. Is that clear enough for you? I'm like, yeah, no, I got it. Yeah.
We'll do like Melissa McCarthy type. Funny.
Yeah. Funny girl. I know, it's crazy. And this is like the whole bit with the theater company, right?
Yeah.
It's like we want to have body inclusivity. We want to have like all of the different shapes and sizes and people and genders and races, and just like everybody should have a chance to play a role.
Right.
That we all growing up were like, you know, when I was growing up, I was like, no film, no way, not a chance. Sarah Michelle Gellar, I am not. And I like didn't see anybody that looked like me on TV. So I really didn't get into film until I started being like, fuck it. If she's going to send me for this, I'm going to go.
Right.
Somebody saw my headshot.
I mean, and with guys, it like Steve Buscemi is very talented, great guy. I never pictured him as like a lead character.
Right.
Now that I have, obviously great, love his work, fantastic.
Yeah.
But he's not pretty.
No, and like that's not,
and it's not a male requirement. They can be old, fat, ugly, bald, and then be like leading man.
Yeah. And you know, those are the exact guys that are taking our commercials, you know? They don't really want, like sometimes it's like, you know, male or female, you're watching the Super Bowl with your bros. I'm like, look at me. Like how, this is not what we're looking for here. And then it's that exact guy who gets the commercial every time.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It's so funny. So funny. So, yeah, inclusive, you know what?
I understand.
I love English so much. So glad it's my only language that I can definitely do. But yeah, it's so important. And in all different kinds of ways. Because like just look outside, look at real life. Like if life's supposed to imitate art and vice versa, why are they all models? Yeah,
well, this is just it. It's like I've been forcing my boyfriend to watch every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer because that's a requirement of dating me. And he's like, this is crazy. These women are so thin. Right. Like this is unacceptable. And I'm like, and this is like, I started watching this when I was 9 years old. Like this is what I thought people were supposed to look like. And this is why we're all so fucked up in the head.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to avoid that for the future.
I love it. Wicked. We hope. Again, check it out. November 7th.
Yeah.
November 7th. Theater. Alumni Theater. Not a cult. Coming to a stage near you. And I just have some quick, fast 5 questions for you. And then, sorry, I looked at you very confused because I was trying to think of, I asked all the questions I wanted to ask, right?
Got it.
Is there anything else that you wanted to cover that I didn't cover?
I guess I should mention, I knew I was going to forget something. We do cabarets at Popper's Pub on the 2nd floor, a couple every year. So we just did, in February, we did Stupid Cupid, Valentine's is for the Pals. And it was all very talented singers just going up and singing any song that was not about romance. And it was the day before Valentine's Day.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we wanted to call it Palentine's Day, so it's not gendered.
Right.
Yeah, so that was the bit. I think we're going to be doing a Pride-themed one in June.
Nice.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Wicked.
A very gay cabaret.
Yay!
As opposed to all those hetero cabarets.
That's opposed to all the really straight ones that happen on Bay Street. Yeah. They're just not telling us.
Sure, yeah.
Hilarious. Okay, well, so keep an eye out for that as well. Wicked. So my last 5 questions are just silly, and I love them.
Okay.
So what is your favorite beverage?
Any beverage?
Any beverage.
It's wine for sure.
Nice. White or red?
Depends on the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a seasonal white in the summer, red in the winter.
For sure.
Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be done. Just works.
Yeah.
What is your pet peeve?
When people chew with their mouths open.
Like
it's the closest I've come to murder, I think, in my life, and it's so unnecessary. You know?
I love it. It's weird. It is. Just shut your damn mouth. Yeah, I agree. Especially when it's something like really chewy and
or it's like on the TTC and you're like, I just didn't need to know you this well, like at all, you know?
Right?
Yeah.
What is your favorite genre to watch?
I have to say right now it's reality. Like, and by reality I mean Bravo. I'm ashamed, but I'm just accepting it now.
Own it.
It's a part of me.
Own it.
Yeah.
Wicked. I love it. Fill in the blank. A good performance consists of.
A good performance consists of good storytelling. Yeah.
Nice. Wicked. And what is something that you would tell a creative just starting out or your younger self?
Just do it.
Nice.
Just do the thing.
Nice.
Stop telling yourself, and this is like, I still do this, like stop telling yourself why you can't or why you're not right for this part or why you should look like this or feel like this or have this level of like success, and just like keep doing it.
Amazing. Yeah. And don't tell other people that are the naysayers. You know who they are in your life, but I avoid telling certain people things
For sure.
I already have the negative voices of telling me why I can't do things. I don't need outside sources to do the same thing for me.
Yeah, there is like such a you need hype people in your life, especially for like an acting, like an indie acting career where it's like you're going out for these auditions and it's like it's title of one of Mindy Kaling's books, like, why not me? Why not? Like, for what? We can say no all day. It's not interesting.
Right?
Just be like, I'm going to book this one.
Nice. Wicked. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast today. I'm so glad that we could do this.
Yeah,
it was lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I hope you learned a lot and related to the stories. Let us know in the comments your biggest takeaway. Be sure to like and subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, all of our social media channels as well. If you want to donate and help help the podcast to keep on going, you can head to my website, AlisonMullings.com. There's a place to donate there so that we get better guests, better production, better everything. So thank you so much again. And for more interviews, check out Creative Full Time.